Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Helena.
And I'm Kelly.
And we are Speaker Insight, where we help speakers, authors and coaches, just like you, to build a business on your terms. And obviously, if you are joining us, some of you are joining us live, and I'm just going to sit here and talk about the buzz in our business whilst you are doing that. Joining us. But please, if you aren't joining us live, do a hashtag replay, because we do like to know when you're watching this and see what's actually going on. We have some buzz in our business, but we would like to know what the buzz is in your business. And again, even if you're joining us later, we still want to know what the buzz is in your business. We want to understand what you are out there doing as a speaker, author, or coach, whatever it is you're up to in the world, whatever industry you're in, right?
We just had our promo day last week in the Connection Hub.
Yes.
And so it's always lovely to see all the things that you guys have got going on, what you're
and
promoting
the variety, right?
Yeah. So shove it in here, shove it in the comments.
Yeah, pop it in and let's see what you're up to. So welcome to the three of you that are currently kind of coming along. I'm just going to burble for a little while. I am going to tell you this. We've been talking about the Connect and Create Day for a little while. It is now totally sold out, so do book early for the next one.
For those of you, a couple of people away this week, haven't we?
Exactly.
It's like I should have booked earlier because it is on Thursday. So those of you that are coming, say hi in the comments and let us know that you're coming. And how we can help you.
Yes, completely. And hey Neil, we're very much looking forward to that whole start of the new year. There's nothing like connecting with people. So most of the people that are coming are actually coming from the Connection Hub, which is the group that we actually run. So as Speaker Insight, we set up a group for speakers, authors and coaches to really connect with each other, but also with all of the people and the suppliers that they might need to run the back end of their speaker, author, coach business, because you want to be out there and impacting the world, right?
Do it alone.
Exactly. And so that's partly what the Connect and Create Day is all about. It's about really stepping back from the business and going, what can I work on that absolutely furthers my business in the short, medium and long term, and as well as just networking with like-minded, like-valued people.
So if you missed this one and you're not coming, I've put the link in the comments so that you can book onto the next one, which will be in a couple of months' time.
Yes.
But yeah, don't leave it too late.
No, definitely not. Now, and we're experimenting with a Monday, so we'll see who comes over. Because it's always good to experiment with everything that you do. In fact, we're going to talk about that pretty much the whole of today.
When we get the question in the Connection Hub all the time. I think we had one last week. When should I run my event?
Yeah.
Should it be Wednesday at 7? And we're like, okay. What do we always say? And I know people like Andrea and Joseph are going to say, oh my God, they're going to say it. But it's all about the avatar.
It is all about the avatar.
You need to test your own avatar.
Yeah, so we are. This year we are. So we're doing one on a Thursday. We're doing the next one on a Monday. We've got a Wednesday coming. And I think we've even got we obviously would never have a Tuesday.
Kira's on time today. Yay.
Yay. Well done you. So the other thing, and this would be remiss of me not to tell you, do you know what National Day it is today?
What, the worst day of the year?
It's really the best day of the year. Today is National Hugging Day. So what's not to love about that? Shall I give you a hug?
No, I'm not leaving the house. For those of you that don't know me, I don't do hugs. So if you're coming on Thursday and you've never met me before, a handshake is quite suffice. Thank you very much.
Right. And if you're desperate to give someone a hug, just give me hers. That's really how it goes. Now, the thing about this is that hugs really are good for you. They raise your oxytocin levels, they reduce your stress levels, and so Kelly's the stressed one in this relationship, obviously.
I hug my dog.
Oh, that's very true. We did actually have a little hug fest with Royston just earlier on. So, other things before we actually get teaching you. We don't know about you, but we've had a bit of a nightmare doing our expenses and doing all the sorting out and the accounting. We hate it, but we love it, because actually part of tracking, and again, we're going to be talking about this, not necessarily about the accountancy bit, but tracking what happens in your business is a vital thing to do. You still need to stay on top of it, even if you don't enjoy it. And so sometimes it is about just kind of sucking it up and going, this has to happen in the business. So we've been doing a little bout of that, haven't we?
Even though we make it much easier for ourselves. So a little side tip, we use Receipt Bank, where we take all pictures of any of our receipts. So it goes straight into the back end. We have a paperless receipt back end.
Thank God.
And then we use Xero to then actually manage all of our accounts. So those two talk to each other.
And
Oh, and we use what's called trip catcher.
For those of you, as speakers, authors and coaches, many of you probably still do get in a car, go to your clients in some way, shape or form, whether it's for a talk and that sort of thing. Trip catcher is absolutely amazing in that it literally logs the journey. You can save your favorites, you can do all sorts of things. And it calculates the mileage straight in, it goes straight up to receipt bank, which goes straight through to zero.
So even though we're streamlining, we still have to do the reconciliation at the end. And that's the bit that we're like, well, actually, I quite like it because it's a bit like data entry and I'm a geek. But you like it when it works.
I like it when it works. And yes, let's put it this way. I watched a couple of movies while sorting out the issues. But, you know, this is the whole point about being in business. We wear the hats that we wear. We choose to do this because we want to make the impact that we want to make on the world and really change how the world is doing what it's doing.
Yeah.
And so there are things in the background that you do need to be doing. So I'm saying all of this in order to actually prepare you for what we're about to talk about.
Let's get on track.
Yeah, let's. So, I'm excited to say I'm running my vision board workshop on Sunday. And I'm pretty much full. I'm literally kind of like squeezing people in around the edges. So if you do want another one, just ping me and PM me and maybe I'll put a date in February because the January mop up is definitely mopping up, which is good.
Hi, Jackie.
So I think we've blurbed for long enough. So now, you might actually, as a speaker, author or coach, you might be one of the ones that loves that creativity piece, but can't actually stand the marketing piece behind it. It means that, you know, you've probably got garages full of books, or you've got, you know, half written or fully written and done courses on your hard drives and keynotes that you haven't ever delivered in some way, you know, because your creativity abounds. You literally have to walk out your door and you see something and you get inspired and you go, I could do that. But the thing about that is that so many people really do complain in our world around spending most of their time marketing and not delivering. And the thing about that is that the marketing that they're doing doesn't then convert. And so we thought we'd tackle that.
Yeah, it's annoying, isn't it, when you spend all your time doing something you actually don't want to do.
Yeah.
And it's even more frustrating when it doesn't give you any ROI because you just think, I'm just wasting my time.
That's exactly it. I love that Jackie's here, you know, sort of like for this particular one, because, you know, it's all about the tracking and all about the sorting out. So now, it's really reasonable for you to expect to want your efforts to be impactful, right? And that's the whole thing. The intention behind what you're doing is to actually get traction, to get activity, get your activity doing something that attracts people into your world so that you can help them change. But here's the thing, tracking teaches. Tracking is the thing that allows you to look at your marketing activities and understand where you're consistent, where your evergreen scheduling should be, and what you should be measuring. So that's really what we want to go through and be really practical about it. So again, for those of you who don't have pen and paper on you, where on earth are you? And like, go get some right now, because we've got some suggestions for you for what you should or could be tracking that allows you to understand this marketing effort that you're doing, right?
And so the things that we've chunked it into 4 main categories just to keep it concise for this live. And these are things, as Helena said, that we think are evergreen marketing activities. Yeah. What we mean by those is that things that last forever, they should be ongoing. This doesn't take into account things like when you're launching something or you're broadcasting something, because when you're launching something, there's a whole marketing campaign that goes around that, and that's more of a one-off.
Yeah.
So we have trainings in Changemaker Central, our membership area, on how to launch an online course and also get sales, you know, how to do webinars, all those types of things. We teach that side. This is just for you to use as am I doing these things?
Yeah.
And also, you might be doing them, but are you measuring and tracking the impact of them?
Exactly, because the evergreen kind of elements that we're going to talk about show you the trends in your business and allow you, the great thing about being a small business owner is that you can actually, you're not a big tanker. Yeah. It doesn't take you ages to turn. You can kind of change direction, but you need to be aware of what's actually happening so that you can choose to change.
Yeah. And Kieran's just said it's hard when you start out. That's what I'm finding, and trying to persuade people about the benefits of hiring a coach.
Yeah,
right?
definitely.
Because the coach will know what you need, what you don't know. So they will be able to give you that insight, but they also work on the great bit, which is accountability.
Yes.
Rather than you getting that shiny penny syndrome that Helena said, oh, this looks great. No, we can put that in Pandora's box and do that next month.
Yeah.
Let's get some results on here, and that's where coaching is great. So thanks for bringing that point up, Kieran. So what I want you to do is have the pen and paper, as Helena said, but also think, whether you're watching this on the replay or watching this live, when I talk about one of the 4 categories, or when we talk about it, tell us, just put yes in the comments if you are doing that thing. Yeah. And if you are tracking it, we're going to give you some advice on things that you should be using, or metrics to track. Yeah. But tell us if you're tracking something different, because this is a whole, we're not saying this is the only way or these are the only 4 things. Completely. But these, I would probably say, are the consistent things that I would suggest you all do. Yeah. So we're good. He's right. Oh no. Oh, where have you gone? Don't fiddle with my screen. You don't know how to use technologies called Macs. Oh, you cheat. There are rude things I could say in this moment. Jackie said, for me, it's about a 90-day plan, which I track against, but the detail for me can only be done in 30 horizon. On 30-day horizons, 30, yeah. I review it on a weekly basis. I'm sure managing my time as best I can. My diary has been trashed for January, but I'm resetting everything for tomorrow. Yay! Yeah, and we completely work with that. Any of our Changemaker Central members know that we work on a 90-day plan. Yes. We have a business tracker around there. We have a 30-day plan, and then we hold you account to a weekly task. Yes. So that's us with our whips. Yes. If you want to be whipped, come to Changemaker Central. Okay, so the first area that we suggest from a marketing point of view is actually saying, and this is what we do on these lives, is actually, where are you teaching? Yes. Where are you adding value when you're doing your marketing? So these are the things that actually should be demonstrating your expertise, that you really know your stuff. Okay, it could be the insights that you have. A lot of you know that we have the industry insights of a speaker agency, a publishing house, training, licensing. So we know the behind the scenes stuff. And where can you demonstrate that in your marketing, that you're the go-to person if they're looking for that? So this is all around, a lot around content, okay? And content is king. Content is where people can try before they buy. Absolutely. It's all that bit where they get, but it's not just, little bit of breadcrumbs and you don't actually get any meat. You actually want to teach them something to actually go, God, if they gave that away for free, we hear this all the time about our lives. They give every week, they give this away for free. What would it be like to come on their retreat or to do their membership program where I actually have to pay for that information? And so that's the answer is it would be brilliant. I'm just letting you know that. So what we've done in these 4 categories is we've given you 3 ideas of things to measure. I'm all teach, need to mix it up. Yeah. Yes, Alison. Yes, you do, Alison Porter. So we've given you 3 things to potentially look at to market in each of these 4 categories. Yeah. And my suggestion would be that I would like you to be doing, even if you're early days, as Kieran said, one thing in each category. And then tracking it and measuring it. And get consistent about tracking it. Don't just start tracking it and do it for 2 months. You want to. The benefit of tracking is being able to see those trends, as I was saying it. So pick one, even if it's not the right one, you're in the habit of doing it. And when you've been doing things over time, like we've done 2 years worth of this content Facebook Lives, right? We've never missed a week. Yeah. So we can actually compare viewing ratios, engagement ratios, so we can go, do you know what? We get so many people live on the lives at the first quarter of the year compared to the summer where most people watch the replays. Yep. And this is all insight and information that you can use to your advantage when you're doing your marketing schedule. So in the teach value section, these are 3 things that you could potentially think about doing. First one, what we're doing now, is Facebook Lives and LinkedIn Lives. If you've had the benefit at the moment of the early 2012 that you're one of those early people in the UK that have got the ability to do LinkedIn Lives. Yes. If you haven't, I would fill in the form and ask for approval because you never know, you might get it. Yeah. But wherever you're doing some sort of live content, YouTube, Facebook, that's the highest form of engagement that you can do. Yeah. So it's the way that, you guys could throw questions at us right now on this subject. We're not sitting here with textbooks or Googling the answer. You can actually go, do they actually know their stuff under the surface? Let me put them under pressure. But it's also, you get to know our styles, right? Geeky, non-hugger, hugging mama, you know, work
Get
through all of your shit through your, you know, all the personal stuff. So when you come to the retreat or you work with us, you know that you either love us or you hate us.
Yeah.
But it's that way, you can't get this through a blog.
No.
Right? You can't get this level of personality and engagement without someone doing it live. And that's why we're saying LinkedIn Lives, Facebook Lives, YouTube Lives is a great thing to do.
But the tracking that goes with it is then what's really, you know, you need to understand what you want to track that actually allows you to understand that those lives, however you do them, whatever platform you do them on, are actually working. So what are you going to track?
So these are some ideas, and again, I'm just giving you some clues, but you could have, and we have our weekly meeting where we are tracking certain things that are important to us, and anyone that's using our business tracker in Changemaker has the things that they're tracking as well. But if you're looking at your Facebook Lives, who could hate you? Lots of people could. Alison, don't worry. If you are doing your LinkedIn Lives, maybe just track, like, how many likes on average do you get on the video, right? How many views are you getting? How many people are watching you live? How many people join you live?
Yes.
How many people share that live out?
Yeah.
How many people are commenting? So once you know your averages, I get about 30 comments per post.
Yeah.
I get 3 shares on an average about 15 likes or loves. If you go back to our Facebook Live training, loves are much more important than likes. Yeah. So please, as a side note, if you're ever going to watch or like any of our stuff, don't like it.
Please love it.
Because Facebook's changed the algorithms and they don't pick up on likes anymore. They only pick up on loves.
Not in the same way anyway.
No. So these are things, and then you can actually go, oh my God, that Facebook Live was shared 30 times. Yeah. I've got 400 comments and however many likes. You know initially from just having that insight that that content is sky high above all the other stuff. What do? You convert that into something which might be a lead magnet. You might do a workshop on it. It might be a keynote, because that's content that at that time is landing with your audience more than your average standard stuff.
And now I'm going to rein you back in and just talk about tracking.
Okay. Well, that is tracking. That's what I'm saying. Those are the things.
I know. Absolutely. The result of in some way.
So the next thing that you could be doing to actually offer this teach or this value side of things is webinars. Yes. Right? So webinars where it's free for people to join. And you might have an upsell at the end of it, probably no longer than half an hour for that initial webinar. Yeah. But what most people get frustrated with webinars on is they just talk about, dangling a carrot. You could have this, you could have this, you could have this. And then at the end, they have to buy something to actually get the value. We do a lot of training around how to run webinars. And actually, it's important that you teach something. It's important that you teach them the thing that they signed up for, and then have a call to action to the next step. So you teach them how to get from A to B, but then you go, okay, if you want to go from B to D, this is my next thing you need to do. But webinars are a great way. So again, things to track if you're doing webinars is how many people registered. Right? So you might be using something like zoom.us to actually capture that. And there's a lead page. The amount of people that register isn't always, and never is, the same amount of people that actually attend, actually watch live. And you can get these stats from platforms like GoToWebinar or Zoom. They tell you those things. And so you can actually go from your conversion ratio, actually, when I ran the webinar at 7 p.m., 80% of people joined me live. When I ran it at 2, only 30. So that shows
gives you information.
When should you be running stuff live? Well, it should be at that 7 p.m. time because it's more appropriate for your audience. And then also you might want to track how many people click through to the offer at the end of the webinar to your call to action, whatever that might be. So these are just giving you ideas of some metrics. And my final thing to potentially do, as I said, there's loads more, but on teach and value, is actually, as I mentioned before, lead magnet downloads. So if you go to if you're in the Connection Hub and you go to the Files section, you'll see our Resource Hub. Now, I think in there's about 15, 20 lead magnets in there, all on various different things. What's a comparison CRM matrix? How many stages can I speak on a directory? So all these things you ask about a lot.
All those things that Kelly was just talking about that we heard that people were wanting, that speakers, authors and coaches are looking for, that's what we then created.
Because we know that had really loads of engagement. We know our most popular Facebook Lives that that you guys watch again and again.
Yeah.
So create lead magnets on there so that you're capturing data and also providing content in a different format that isn't live. It's often written or audio so that they can actually watch it in their own time.
Yeah.
And the things to measure when you're doing lead magnets, and this is why we use software called like leadpages.net, where all of our landing pages, sales pages, squeeze pages, don't worry about the terminology, they're all the same friggin' thing. But where you host those pages on, if you use lead pages, you should be tracking, the first thing is called impressions. Now that shows you how many people have actually seen that page, that squeeze page, opt-in page, etc. That's called an impression. Then you've got the next metric to actually do is how many people actually clicked onto the link to opt in for that download. So because if you're getting 100 people coming and having an impression but only 10 people clicking in to download the free thing, there's something not right wrong on your copy or your image of your landing page. It's not compelling enough. So you averagely want to have a 30 to 40 minimum opt-in rate from a lead page to say, okay, my copy's landing to a level, right? I'm okay with a 30 to 40, anything higher, great. But that's what you should be aiming for. So you've got your impressions, you've got your click-throughs, and then you can actually then measure your conversions.
And that's where it's
that's where people actually are opting in and giving them the information. So you've got the impressions, the click-through to then get the sign-up box, and then people don't abandon there and they actually sign up by putting their details in, and then they go into your CRM system and get that. That's something that leadpages.net gives you that information on your homepage. You don't need to have Google Analytics or anything installed. It will show you that. And that means you can make those choices to go, is that lead page working or is it underperforming?
And because this is actually the key to everything. What we're wanting to really impress on you is that you have finite time, energy, and resources, and part of that is what you choose to track is then what you choose to actually make an impact with. And it's only by tracking that you can actually change things and ensure that you are doing the right thing for you in your business and for what your business actually requires, because you may well be taking it in a different direction. You may well be wanting to promote a particular, maybe you've just actually added, in fact I see Josefa's kind of here, you may just have added a whole new product, you know, or an academy or something, you know. So with that, you want to start going, okay, well, how do I move things over? So the way that you track is going to give you choices, and that's what we're really talking about. So the second area, so that was the first kind of area.
Teach and value.
Teach and value. The second area that you want to be looking at what you're tracking is definitely the social, the whole kind of social arena, wherever you show up, whatever channels you show up in, because there are activities that you do that keep you at the forefront of your avatar's mind. You know, where you show up and they show up to greet you. So, you know, we're very pleased that several of you have greeted us and are with us live at the moment. But as Kelly said, you know, it might well be that there's a whole bunch of people who are doing things, if you're watching this on the replay, you know, we welcome that too.
Because 80% of our people
watch
on the replay, right? Because 1 o'clock for a lot of you, you're working. So some of you do have your coffee if it's Amy, or lunch with us, which I know a lot of you do. But you know, if it is inconvenient for you, most of you are delivering at this stage, so you might watch it when the kids have gone to bed.
That's exactly it. And some of you, you know, it's a pretty global audience, so for some of you, it's actually just that the timing works very, very differently for you. So part of this for you as the business owner is really to ensure that you are tracking what's happening in your social. So something like that, you know, if you have a group, highly likely a Facebook group, because they are
you to, if your avatar's on Facebook.
Exactly. And the thing is, Facebook groups are still absolutely second to none as far as groups go. No one else has really kind of caught up with the type of engagement and the type of things that can actually go on in there. But you then want to step back and go, what do I actually want to track? So you can look at tracking the number number of members, how many new members are actually coming in on a weekly basis. We average
50 to 100 a week.
Yeah.
So we know that if we go below that schedule, we need to be doing more of the activities that we'll talk about in a minute to bring more members in.
And the thing about this is that you may also understand that even by tracking your numbers, if you then do something like, for example, run a challenge, and suddenly you get an influx in, you might go, wow, running the challenge was hard, but look at the impact of it. I might actually choose to do that again. I certainly
or every quarter or something. Yeah.
So interestingly enough, that's exactly the conversation I just had with one of my coaching clients was, actually, I get that, but look at the effort that it took for you to do so. So is the effort worth the actual numbers? Only if you then have a converting lead magnet or something along those lines. So all of it starts to stitch together, and that's what we're really talking about. It could well be that the number that's really important to you around your group might be the engagement score, the way in which people are actually engaging with you. We're really proud of the Connection Hub. It's just a great space.
Our engagement score is way over 80% most of the time. And so if you don't know where to find this information,
what it is.
Yeah, go into the Facebook insights on your group or your page, for example, and actually look. It will tell you what your level of engagement score is.
Yeah.
So that is how many people in your group are active, how many people are commenting, are liking, are actually responding, or share it. Well, you can't share out of our group, but those types of activities, which means that they're not just lurkers, and they're actually involved in the group. They're active members.
And interestingly enough, I actually had a private conversation. I haven't even had time to tell you this. I had a private conversation with somebody who pinged me from inside the Connection Hub, unknown to me, but he pinged me and he basically said, I love that you did, the awards. How did you even know what the engagement were, who those people were? And of course, we were able to do that. I was able to say that because we're looking at and tracking the stats around it. So it's partly around that intention. What's Alison saying?
Said, I'm seeing a trend of US marketers using Mighty Networks for groups. So Mighty Networks is great. I've used it, Alison. I'm in a coaching constellation group in Mighty Networks. And so a lot of people who are in a corporate space, especially, often don't want to use Facebook, or they're not even their companies won't even allow Facebook to be accessed. Yeah. So Mighty Networks is as an offset. It's an app on your phone. It's a website, and you can build communities in there. But it's great because you can have leadership boards. You can have individual conversations with members. But she's saying this doesn't appeal to me, as I'm on Facebook anyway, and I can dip in and out easily rather than go to another app.
And this is that whole thing that we say.
Where's
you've got
your
to know
avatar, right? And so that's why with our membership, we do have a membership site which is off platform, off of Facebook.
And that's where all the real value is delivered, right?
But we have a Facebook group because we know our avatars, like Alison. Well, Alison's in our Changemaker Central membership anyway. Yeah. But Facebook is a daily habit for them. So they want to be where they're already at.
Yeah. And so thanks, Nigel. We appreciate that you like the content. That makes me very, very happy. So one of the other things that, inside your group you could actually kind of begin to gain is, what is the actual status of that avatar? What's the percentage of male to female? What's the percentage of national, local to you versus global to you? And again, all of those things then have an impact on the decisions that you make in the rest of the business. So our Connect and Create Day came out of the fact that we have it's shifting now, but it grew out of the fact that a lot of people were local to us, i.e. London-based, but also UK-based and willing to kind of come, who all wanted to have something. So we never intended that to be a product, but the stats kind of proved themselves to go, if we did this, what would happen? Yeah. And, we're now running those as a regular thing. It is a product. So those are some of the things.
But if you're thinking of holding an event, a retreat or something like that on a regular basis, then look and see where are your members located.
That's right. Because, you might actually decide to do something down south in your country or in the middle, depending on what you can actually find out. So that's one of the things that you can be or some of the things you can be tracking around your groups. The second place around social is, for those of you who are writing articles or doing blogs in some way, you want to, again, back to what Kelly was saying earlier, they're sort of similar. How many likes are you actually getting? How many shares are you getting? Are you getting comments, and are you able to actually do something with those? How many times has your content been consumed? That's really what you want, isn't it?
Because we say for people that you have your blog on your website.
Sure.
So it's not, you don't have a static website.
Yeah.
But use places like Medium to actually
syndicate it out.
Yeah. So then you can actually see you're fishing outside of your network, but also those places will actually be able to show you a read count as well of how many people have read that blog post, which is again an indication of how many people are liking it.
And the reason that's really useful is because, of course, the stuff that gets picked up is the stuff you need to do more of, because, you know, that content is obviously landing, or it might be the style that you have. You know, we talk a lot about, at Speaker Insight, we put our speakers, authors and coaches at the heart of their business. Who are they being? Who are you being out in the world? And why are people attracted to you? Blogs and articles are one of the best ways to get your Marmite voice out in the world, right? Don't be vanilla and all of that good stuff. So, social groups, blogs. The other thing, very, very big, podcasts. You know,
just taken off like a storm, right?
So, you know, and that again is, if you run a podcast or if you're considering it, then you want to be looking at how many downloads are actually happening, how many people are actually subscribed to your podcast in and of itself. What are the kinds of comments? You know, maybe it's the number of comments or the type of the comments. Remember, sometimes measuring is about quantity, that shows you some trends, but it can also be about quality. So it can also be about what's being highlighted. So we love it when you put comments below, because it gives us more information about, so it may be about the number of comments, but it might also be about things that you are currently putting into the comments right now. And that's true for the podcast as well.
Because we could do a live from after this, from Alison's comments, going, what's the difference between running a group on Facebook to running a group on another network?
Yes, funnily enough, I had that thought too.
But you see, that's where we get the real quality from your conversations, from your insights, and that's why you always need to be listening.
That's right. Now, the final piece around this is it may even be the number of podcasts and or articles, etc., that you are doing, because that begins to show you how consistently show up. Now, that may not be useful to your avatar, but it may be useful when you are then going out and seeking interviewees or that type of thing. If you've got a consistent podcast that's been going for 2 years with no break in content or no break in delivery, that's actually something, and with a massive viewership, that's going to be able to attract you some really good quality guests that is going to attract even more people. So we hope that you're beginning to understand that the numbers really help you with all of the efforts of your marketing.
And they've got some people here saying that podcasting is on the list for them. So remember, if you're in the Connection Hub, we've done a training on expanding your reach through podcasting. So watch that one. That's with Alison. And also, if you're looking to be a guest on podcasts, then just go into the group and use the hashtag opportunity. And that's where our members post lots of requests for guests for podcast or a guest for speaking engagements and stuff. So make sure that you have a trawl through that when you're ready.
Definitely.
So we've done teach and value as one of them. We've done social as one of them. The next thing, which should be a consistent...
The third one. I didn't want to distract you, but now I have, and that's brilliant. At this point, I really want to give her a hug.
No. The third one is basically something which I think is really important that a lot of people miss out, and they end up getting quite stagnant in what they're doing in their marketing because their reach isn't expanding. So this third one is actually, how do you expand your reach in your database? Because this is how you always need to get fresh blood in, fresh insight, you know, because otherwise your conversion ratios will start going down. You can always sell more to the same person if you've got enough of a bigger product range. But if you've got two things and you're just circulating the same thing, it's not going to be long until that pool goes stagnant.
Correct.
So what also is important to do, especially people who have built their reach and their audience purely on social, is I really encourage you to actually start getting those people into your own database, right? Because when you have that person's information, you can target information to them. So remember, if you've got a Facebook page and you put a post out,
Yeah.
only 3% of people that like or follow that page will even see that post.
Yeah.
And then obviously then it's got to see, does it land? Is it at the right time? Did they want to watch that at the moment?
That's right.
So your actual eyes on your stuff is so small that you have to do a lot of stuff to reach people. When you're sending an email, yes, not everybody will read it, but at least it's guaranteed, if you're using the right filters and you're not going into spam, that it will go into their inbox, and then it's a choice and how good your subject title is, whether they'll actually read it.
Yeah.
So you are actually, I know so many people that built their whole world and their business on Facebook, and then when Facebook have changed rules or settings, it's taken their whole livelihood away.
Yeah.
So you need to be in control of that. And with GDPR, you get their permission to contact them.
Yes.
You can use the insights by doing Facebook ads and doing lookalike audiences about them. So it's really valuable to own that database so that you're not having a stagnant pool, but also you're learning more about the people that you're attracting.
Yeah.
So these are things that you can do to expand your reach and increase your database size.
Yeah. And what you should be tracking, the considerations that you can be tracking to do that.
Oh, Joseph, got lots of good guests from the hub for her for this year.
I love that.
So the first thing, and this is actually one of my business activities in Speaker Insight that's predominantly outsourced to me as one of my metrics.
Yes.
So
I do hugs.
And what I do instead is answer questions in other Facebook groups or forums that have our avatar. So on Facebook, I do lots of other things, but on Facebook, I have 5 Facebook groups that have my ideal avatar in, or our ideal avatar of speakers, authors, and coaches. Yeah. And these Facebook groups, I did research, they're highly engaged, so their engagement score is high. Yeah. They have the same values and ethics as we do. And they basically their reach is big, right? So minimum I would look at is 5,000 people in a group, but most of the people that I'm part of have got 250,000 members or so. So I know the activity that I do in there will get lots of eyes and traction. Yeah. Yes, you can go into groups and just show up on their promo days. We have one every month. We just had it last week, which is our What's Your Offer post. But And I wouldn't just promo your business on those. I would actually have a lead magnet that we spoke about earlier and get them in and nurture them that way. But the more value, and when you expand your reach, is when you show up as that expert. Yep. So the questions that I see all the time, and that's why we've created lead magnets on them, is how do I get more speaking gigs? What CRM systems should I be using? How do I get my book a bestseller? All these types of things. So I go through these 5 Facebook groups. It takes me about half an hour a day. Yeah. Scroll through the last 24 hours and just answer any questions that are in there. Not promoting, not saying come to our retreat or whatever it might be. No. A lot of the time I will link and put the link to a Facebook Live training that we've done.
If it's allowed.
If your links are allowed. Yeah. Not promo links, but training. Yeah. And then say, watch this video on how to get your book to be a bestseller. And that way I'm adding value and I'm not selling to them. Yeah. And those people often then come and check my profile out and then find Speaker Insight, and then from Speaker Insight join the hub. Yeah. It's a bit of a long process, but it's a way of actually being of value, but being seen and fishing outside of your pond. Yeah. I'm constantly then coming back to Helena on our weekly meetings going, this is a new topic that's come up in 4 Facebook groups. Yeah. Hence, for example, this morning we've been hearing lots in this first quarter about chatbots. Yes. So what did we do this morning? We had a conversation with an expert on a chatbot who we're now going to do a Facebook Live with in a couple of weeks with. Yeah. So it's basically responding to the content. Yeah. So some of the metrics, if you're looking at hanging out in Facebook groups, or you might be looking at forums like Quora or whatever it might be, this is going back to the quality rather than the quantity. Yeah. What are the most commonly asked questions that you see coming up again and again and again from your avatar? Because that's what you need to leverage and actually productize in some way or another. Also, what groups get the most engagement? So before you know this, you might sign up to 10 or 20 and you're actually measuring how many posts, how many comments average on a post, how big does their group grow every week or every month, just so you understand what type of environment you're going into
and how you might be in that group.
What's the best way to show up? And then the final thing is actually then making sure, going back to the one before about how it's beneficial to you, the podcasts, have you shown up in that every day? So making sure
that's the one
that you are being consistent in that activity, and it's a consistent marketing activity.
This is one of the ones with a lot of the coaching clients that I have. This is actually one of the metrics I make people put in, because it is where are you showing up and how often are you showing up, and I will make them track their show upness for whichever way we put that, because part of it is that consistency that then allows you to get the traction. Because getting known and being seen, you don't just want to be the person that drops in like the favorite auntie and then disappears for 3 months. You want to actually be the person that's consistently in there, so that they do that old adage of know, like and trust you, that they build up this. There's a consistency in this person, and I actually do want to take that further. And I can't tell you the number of times that we've gotten members into our membership or people onto our retreat simply because one or other of us has shown up in that way. My way of doing it is slightly different, and we won't go into that right now.
Well, we discussed it on our discovery call once, so if you want to watch that Facebook Live, you see how Helena shows up a lot more about those conversations.
Yeah.
I'm in great conversation at the moment in one group today, very robust conversation. So
brilliant.
Great. So keep tracking that, Kieran, right?
Yeah.
Like what's different about that group to the other group, and how are you going to give yourself a metric to be consistent around that?
Yeah.
The other thing to expand your reach and database, as well as hanging out in other groups, is actually doing joint ventures with experts or influencers in your field. So these are people that have your avatar, but you don't compete on services, you actually complement. So actually most of the people we've ever done a Facebook Live with, or our professional insights in our Changemaker program, where we've got publishers and speaker agents and blah, 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 they're people that we want to give that information to you, but we can actually be of service to their community.
That's right.
So with a joint venture, and we've done a Facebook Live with Phil Gibbs all around joint venturing. If you want to watch that Facebook Live, there's lots of information in there. But this is a way for you to either exchange your services, where you do a webinar or a teach in their group, they do it in yours, or an email exchange or some sort of promo. And so what you want to do then is, if you've got like a lead magnet that you're offering only to their group, then you want to be tracking what's the conversion ratio, because you might set up a certain landing page just for that person. Did they have a lot more opt-in than I did from my own audience?
That's right.
And then you have to work out, well, what's the size of their group? Is the conversion ratio still 30%? They've just got 30,000 people in their database and you've got 3. So you need to be measuring, is it the fact that I need to be improving my positioning, my offering, to make myself be seen on the same level as that expert? Or do I just need to be increasing my database?
Or indeed, is the relationship such that actually this is a great place to be in longer term partnership? Because sometimes you might just do a one-off with someone, but actually you might choose that this is a partnership, and what else can we do together? That's one of my favorite networking questions, by the way, is what can we do together? It is a really good thing, right?
So Michaela, I agree. This can be the same, can be applied to LinkedIn groups. So this is just, again, where you're at. Always go where your avatar's at, but the principles are still the same. Who could you joint venture with? Whether it's the fact that you do an event together, a webinar together, an exchange of emails, whatever. There's lots of things. Watch that live with Phil, but then measure the outcomes. And then the other thing is actually what we get asked a lot about, and this is what the opportunity hashtag is be a guest blogger, a guest speaker on someone's stage, a guest on someone's podcast, right?
I feel like bursting into song. Be my guest, be my guest.
So all those types of things is actually important for you, not just to do it to your own network, but to be seen outside of your network as the expert and the go-to person in whatever you do.
For sure.
So when you're doing that, it's actually about how many people have you prospected, right? Because then you can go, look, if I actually put a request out there and contact 10 podcasters, then I get 3 people asking me back to say I want to do that, and I actually want to have 1 a month. You've got a nice ratio there of your conversion of how many people do you need to prospect in order to get 1 podcast a month and be a guest.
That's it.
So look at those ratios. It's also important to actually know if you're doing a lot of free gigs where you're speaking on stage, but you're actually getting audience opt-in, so data capture, is what's your conversion from stage? Whether that's a sales conversion or whether that's an opt-in conversion. You need to know how many people are in the audience and then have a certain funnel. You might be using apps like textlocal.com, where they put a 5-digit number in the phone and they go into a certain text it to their number, and then they go into a system, and then you can track where they came from.
And here's what I'm going to say about that is, until you've done something 3 times, don't dismiss it as a thing because you don't know what the metrics are yet. But set up the metrics. What am I going to measure at this event, and then for the next 2 events, because only by getting a mini trend can you actually start to go, that works for me, or this needs tweaking in some way. So don't just do one and go, oh, that was awful, I'm never doing that again, because you don't know for sure. There are so many other varied factors, right?
And we hear that so much around things like Facebook ads and blah, 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 that, oh, I tried it once and it didn't work. And it's just like, well, you're just... You know, with Facebook ads, if you watch our training on Facebook ads, we say you have to give yourself like 3 months of testing to really know stuff.
You really do. And Joseph has actually said she got the first 6 months of guests for 2020 from our group. So if you want to be a guest, you might want to come into the Connection Hub and keep looking a lookout, right? Which works. So
they're the ones, they're just 3. There are lots more, but let's just choose one of these things from each of these categories.
That's right.
We've got 1 more to go.
Yeah.
But just say, what am I doing to expand my reach?
Yeah. So we've done teaching and value. Teaching and adding value. We've done social. We've done expanding your reach in your database. The final one is all around the area of measuring around the PR and the communication elements, because you are in charge of your own credibility, your own announcements for the business, the case studies where you demonstrate the results. All of that is in your care, and all of that is measurable in some way, because you of course want to be, part of PR, part of communicating all of that is that you get seen by a wider audience, and you hopefully get the chance to serve them and support them with whatever it is that you've got for them. So there's a real thing here. Some of this Kelly's already sort of spoken about. When you send out your email broadcasts or your nurture campaigns, you want to be tracking either the email open rates or the click-through rates, or indeed, and this is an important one for you as well, the unsubscribes, because it might well be that one person's avatar likes a daily email and another person's avatar really doesn't. So if you've suddenly got an increase or a hike, if you change something and you see a hike in your unsubscribes, that's obvious that there's a bunch of things that are happening that you're doing that your audience doesn't enjoy in some way. So you can start to see the impact of your communication through things like the open rates, through, it might well be that actually you had a spate of, you didn't really attract their attention with the subject headers.
And that's the point.
So we've also got a training on that one.
But a lot of people say, oh, I've sent out broadcast emails or I've tried to sell this via email and it's not worked.
Yeah.
And then when I say to them, what's your click-through rate and your open rate, they have no idea, right? So when you look at it and go, well, no wonder you didn't convert, because you didn't have anyone that opened it, let alone click through. So that's because your subject heading was something like welcome or something really crap.
Part of tracking is understanding the impact of the thing in the moment. Most of us actually go, or some people that we work with go, I don't have clients. That is not a good statement for you. You want to be able to track it right back to the minuscule things that actually allow you to go, so where is the problem along the step, along that journey to actually then becoming a client? Because it may just be.
And when you track that, if it's a nurture campaign, if you've got 8 steps in your 8 emails
and they stop
and
at 5,
all unsubscribe at 5, and your sales email is at 8, no wonder you're not selling anything.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's really important. And I just want to highlight this before it goes off the screen.
Yeah, definitely.
Neil said, whenever you do outreach for sales and podcasts, always follow up and track the follow-up.
Yeah.
The follow-up should increase your response by 20 to 40%.
And it needs to be planned in, and therefore you can also track. So, what was the initial sign up? What was the sign up on follow up? Because it might actually be that you go, wow, I need to put more effort into the follow up, because actually that's the thing that gets them over the line. Unless you track, you just don't know. I feel a motto coming on. Right, okay, good. So the other thing around this is absolutely do your best to get the press coverage. Do your best to, attend awards and see awards, because those are the things that are going to increase your visibility for sure. But don't just do those things, track. So what you want to do with, whether it's press coverage, whether it's the awards that you're attending or some other thing that allows you to be in the public eye, you want to actually look at how many press releases have you, or things like this, you choose, right? How many
proposals,
press releases, book proposals, the number of, if you are going in for awards, how many votes are you actually getting? How many applications are you making? Back to that thing that Kelly was just talking about around, actually, if I want an award, how many things do I need to put myself up for that I will actually be able to get put forward for? It might also be, if you are, because we're all in transition, right? We learn something new almost every day. And as we do, we tweak the offerings that we have. So if you've transitioned, maybe you are reaching out into a new market sector, or you are expanding your geographical area, you want to be starting to look at the changes in your audience. And that can also come from the communications that you're doing. So there's a whole bunch of things that you can look at that allow you to go, is this the right direction? Is this where I need to be heading in? But again, you need to know the numbers. And actually, with things like awards, with things like the press coverage, you can build that into the campaigns that you're actually doing. It doesn't have to be difficult to track, is what we're saying. And of course, our favorite thing to track that's going to really allow you to do this is testimonials and reviews. How many new testimonials and reviews are you actually getting? Are you collecting them?
Are you asking for them?
Yeah, and that's actually my big thing is if you are asking, how many people are actually coming back? If you're asking and not a lot are coming back percentage-wise, there's probably something that you need to do. It's either the way that you're asking, when you're asking for them, or indeed how you're asking for them. Maybe you're asking for video testimonials and you do something slightly sensitive. So people go, oh, no, thank you. Don't want to do that, right? So depending on who your avatar is, that might be the wrong format that you're asking for them in, and they will happily kind of give you a written testimonial. So again, the numbers tell the story, and that's what we actually want to do. One of the things, the tiny story for you that I have on this one is that with the testimonials or the reviews, one of the trainers that I was working with had loads of those happy scores at the end of the day. And the rating score can actually turn into a number that you use to help your credibility, because
prove your
they had
ROI,
them. They had all of these stashed away in a file somewhere. When we took them out, we turned them into a stat that now basically is 98% of people were better as a result of the intervention that they did, and that was sat in a drawer.
Yeah.
So the numbers can tell the story, and you tracking the numbers tells the story of either how you are perceived and why people should have you, or it tells the story of what's going wrong in the business and then where you need to look to turn the dial. It's that whole, it's £10,000 for the invoice simply because you knew where to clank the hammer, right? It's that sort of piece.
So Tarina, no worries, you have to watch the replay because we're just about to wrap up. But I just wanted to put Alison's point here that she's doing regular stints on local radio at the moment, but only doing shows where they introduce you properly.
Nice.
If they don't mention the book or give me a chance to, then there's no point doing it. Of course, because then that's glory PR rather than PR that actually gives you an ROI.
And of course, the way to do that is you do your research beforehand. You listen to a couple of the, if you get invited to do something, you go and you watch. Is it like valued? Is it actually going to help me do what I'm doing?
Yeah.
Do they do the intro in the way that I want them? Because you are still in charge of your reputation as far as that goes.
And if you just caught Helena's last bit about testimonials and review, we've got the Facebook training on how to ask and use testimonials and reviews. So again, if that's one of your things you want to do, then go back and watch that training.
I actually think that you just need to put the list in for the whole of it, because I think you've mentioned about 10 different recordings in this particular live.
Well, I'm going to give you another one, right? So one of the things that we do is the tracking. We know is it's probably not a sexy topic.
Yeah.
But when you talk about the benefits of what you can do with that insight and how you can make decisions consciously when you know the numbers,
then it really is
then
sexy.
People want it, right?
Yeah.
So this is a download that we've created a while ago. We've done a few Facebook Lives around it, but what is and isn't working in your business
for sure
is a tool that you can download. It basically gives you a way of actually doing reviews on a regular basis.
Yeah. And helps you choose.
Yeah, it gives you we give you some marketing metrics, some sales metrics, and various things that you can actually start pulling. What should I be measuring? And then a format of actually being able to do that.
Yeah.
So you've got that choice where you can just download that. But as we've mentioned quite a lot today, it's been a new focus for this year in our Changemaker Central, where we've launched the Changemaker Business Tracker, where we have a whole intent wall chart with booklets, with monthly and quarterly review meetings in there to make sure that you're managing your business on your terms. Then come and check it out in the Changemaker Central, which is our membership program where you can get a whole month for free. What are you doing there? Oh, you're unfolding a wall chart. Oh, you got stickers.
I know.
So this is a blank wall chart, but this is like some of the stuff that we give away in our membership. So I've put the link there so you can come and check us out for a month. But whether you're, quite a few of us still with us, tell us maybe what your commitments are. So we say one thing from those four categories of value, of social, of expanding reach and database, and PR communications. And maybe just pick one of those things. What's going to be your activity and how are you going to measure and track it? What's going to be your metrics to know if it's working?
That's right.
Tell us. We want to hear, and ask us any questions.
Yeah. It's really rather good.
If not, we'll see some of you on Thursday at our Connect and Create Day.
Hugs for me, not for Kelly. And just really lovely to have you here. We want to know what you get out of this, and we want to know what you actually are going to go and track, right? So on that note, we'll say goodbye. Have a great rest of your day, whatever time it is, wherever you are.
Take care.
Bye.